week is I have a program called the Chingona Sabbatical. I took a sabbatical about 3 years. It completely changed my life, the direction of my professional life, personal life. And I just really believe that when Latinas are give themselves an opportunity to just have safe space to dig in deep and really read what's happening in the soul, that we are able to live out the life meant for us. And that means a lot more liberated Latinas. So excited to be here to talk about our personal board of directors, because there was a lot of people who came in for me during that time to just kind of be my sounding board. And I'm happy to be here to help folks build their board of directors, and also just for us to be that for you all if that's what you need this morning.
And I am Liz, once again. I am the founder of Latino Financial Literacy Night, and this morning I will be helping moderate. If anyone needs to raise their hand, I will bring you up here.
Liz, your audio doesn't sound great. Think can barely hear you.
Okay.
I don't know if it's just me.
Is that better?
Yeah, that's way better.
Okay. Again, I am Liz, the founder of Latino Financial Literacy. And this morning I will just be helping moderate, and I will be bringing up anyone that raises their hand and sending out invites to invite you up on stage.
And with that, we're starting our show. I apologize. I'm trying to get the feed just started on my channel, but I'm just having issues trying to figure out how to share the link with you guys. So once it's live, I think you could just go on my channel and like look at live, because I'm watching the feed right now as we speak, but I have no idea how to share the link with you guys. That's one thing that I did not test. So just go on my channel. It's Real Talk with Polly Ramirez, and should be able to see the live slide, share with your friends or anyone who's interested in finding out more about Clubhouse, especially people who need club invites. We can probably give them a couple invites if they're interested. Additionally, a couple other like announcements just so I get them out of the way. I'll be holding the first Latino pitch night on the last Friday of March. If you're interested in joining and being part of that, make sure you sign up on my Twitter, which is there's a pinned link, and then there's a Google form link to it, and then you just sign up. There's going to be rules and all that fun stuff going to be sent out to those who signed up. And if there's any other announcements, Michelle or Liz, that you want to get out of the way, or that'll be all?
Yeah, today we have the open forum for Latino Financial Literacy. Anyone that wants to join can bring your ideas as to what you want to learn, how you want to help. For anyone that has been showing up to the night, just come and let us know what we could improve, what else you want to see, and everything like that.
Yeah, and through the month of January, I've been hosting live meditations on Instagram, and they're all recorded and uploaded. So if you also are just in need of some downtime, some Zen time, you can catch those on my IGTV. And I've been talking to Mandy about finding a time to even start hosting some of those here in the Chingona AF Clubhouse Club as well. So more about that to come.
Okay, and I successfully shared the twit link from my live feed. So if you guys want to just verify that you guys can hear you guys well from the audio, I triple checked it a couple times, but just if you guys want to just hear your voice through a live feed at the same time from Clubhouse, because I just think it's the coolest thing ever, go ahead and check it out. And with this last announcement, we're starting Latinos in Small Businesses. So Board of Directors started as a conversation from last week. Last week we were talking about basically the imposter syndrome, and we came to a conclusion that one of the best ways to defeat the imposter syndrome is having like your own board of directors. And that's what we're here for, speaking mainly. I went through I still go through a lot of imposter syndromes, but the way I go through them is just having my board of directors, which is consisted of someone who is my own age, which is a peer, and then I have two other mentors, which is people who are older than me and already are basically wiser and gone through a couple of more life-changing ethics that I haven't gone through. And then the last one will be someone who I work with personally. So those are my board of directors. You could go from as much as 3 or 4 or 5. There's not really a number to it, but the one important part when you're choosing these people is people that you can like call at any time, at any moment given, and making sure that they're there for you when you're going through like one of the hardest things. So, Michelle, do you have anything else to add or?
Yeah, I agree. I agree that it's a group that I would say probably about 5. This is like your trusted inner circle. You're going to tell them like your deep, dark secrets, the things you're scared about, you may not mention to someone else. And they just know you so well that they can help guide you in the right direction. And I would say, I know we'll kind of get into this a little more about who that makeup is, but a mix of maybe like that colleague who just rode hard with you at your last job. Maybe it's one of your best friends. Maybe there's also somebody aspirational who's 10 years ahead of where you're hoping to go. And so they can help guide you towards what you're working towards. But it's a good mix of people who are really supporting you in a well-rounded way in all the different parts of your life. And that's why you can lean on all of them at different points or all together. I mean, I've even had friends who call their whole board of directors together to literally do meetings like you would a real board of directors, to just talk through life decisions, and they're able to do that. So it can take on a lot of different forms based on where you're at in your life and what your needs are.
Yeah, Liz, you have any other additions to add to that or any suggestions just overall so we can bring a couple people and start the audience portion of this?
Yeah, sure. If everyone that is in here wants to go ahead and ping people, you do that with the little plus sign at the bottom. Ping anyone that you feel could benefit from hearing today's information or that could share something valuable with us.
Okay, and with that, we're going to bring up our first audience member on board, which is Adriana. Overall, do you have like any moment in your life where like you felt like you needed like a board of directors, weren't sure how to start it, or overall just want to share your experience?
I think that like now I'm where I think I need that like now. I just started my own lash business about 5 months ago, and I think that now is kind of the time to look into, you know, everything business wise. I probably should have done that before I got into the business, but it was kind of just something that I hopped into. That being said, it's kind of why I'm here, just to kind of hear you guys talk about, you know, your guys' things and get advice and, you know, all that good stuff.
Well, you're in a pretty good place to be. Is there any specific that you want to ask? Well, we actually can be your board of directors right now. If you want us to be right now, we can like simulate this board meeting as we speak.
That would actually be great. I wouldn't mind. I mean, I just moved back home. I had a house fire over the summer, so I'm moving home. So I'm kind of unpacking. But I am, like I said, I'm down to listen to all the gems that you guys have to offer.
What's something that you're currently struggling with or that you need help setting up?
More content to post on social media. I'm not yet on Facebook, so I do plan on doing that. But I'm not yet on there. So I don't know how to promote on there. I don't know how to really promote on Instagram. Just kind of reach out to more girls, more people.
So with that, the first question I would ask you is, if we're taking on this idea of this being a board meeting, is we are all gathered together because we have a similar mission. So in this case, what's your mission that we can support you on when you're trying to think about what your message is that you want to get out on Instagram? What's the mission vision of your business?
I think that more than anything, I just want to make people feel more beautiful, more, I don't know, like I want to empower women. I want to make women feel good about themselves. Just kind of that, something in that area. I'm not even sure. Like I said, I'm not super savvy with this stuff, and that's why I'm.
Actually, that's beautiful, because you didn't say, I want to sell such and such products for so much money and make so much money. Like you started off with, I want to empower women and I want them to feel beautiful. Like that's a great mission to have. So when you think about empowerment, when you think about beauty, like what are the words, the images that come to mind, the ways that you would want to empower and help people feel beautiful? Because beautiful can take on a lot of different formats.
I think the beautiful to me would be like to give back, to not just give back, and not just materialistically or anything like that, but to give back as just a simple compliment to make somebody's day, or, you know, I don't know, just really make women feel good, you know, whether it be just a simple compliment, whether it be you buy them coffee or whatever, you know, it is, just something along those lines.
Okay, so keep going. What are the images then? Because those images are the images that then you want to put on your Instagram page. What are the images that go with empowerment, beauty, helping other people?
You're putting me on the spot. I have like no idea. Literally brain fart.
Girl, this is your board meeting. We're here for you. Like, help us help you.
I don't know. Jesus. Really, just
also ask questions. Like,
just helping, like just
this, or how would I go about that?
Liz, I can barely hear you.
Yeah, your mic sounds a little bit muffled. Liz.
Okay, sorry. I'm at Target right now, you guys. And I just feel like there's so much noise going on. But anyway, as I was saying, since you don't know exactly like what to say, like go ahead and use us as like your board that you're asking questions to. Like just ask us like, well, how would I go about doing this, or how would I go about doing that? And then maybe that will get more questions forming for you.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna go grab a notebook real quick because I feel like I have to write this stuff down.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I'll go ahead. While we wait, let's just put the waiting music, I guess. I'm kidding. But yeah, just checked everything. We're live on YouTube. The speakers are sounding great. The audience is sounding great. So if you guys want to share the link with your friends, go ahead. I have it shared on my Twitter. Go share it with people. Be like, hey guys, we're live. Come check out this awesome small business Saturdays. Oh, I think we just lost Liz.
Yeah, I think so. While we're waiting for Adriana to get her notebook, I guess just to put it out there for other folks, if you have a question that you want to ask, if you just have general business questions, or you just want to ask questions about what a board of directors for your personal life, professional life means, start thinking about your questions. You may want to go grab your notebook right now too, because there's going to be some wonderful information and some conversation going down that you want to be ready for. So then we can be ready to support you.
Okay, I'm back.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Adriana, hi.
Yes.
I'm Maggie, or Margarita, actually. I have a suggestion for you, especially as starting off your business. I started my small business early last year. If you look at your ideal company, like who you want or how you want your Instagram to look, that could be your start off of how or kind of inspo of how you start your content and where you go. How can I say this? So you look at your ideal profile and kind of start to get inspiration from that to help you come up with content for your own. It doesn't have to be a copycat, but even if you have some idea of what you want it to look like, it can help you move forward on how you want your Instagram to eventually look.
Okay, thank you.
No problem.
I think that's where I'm having the most kind of trouble is finding like an idea of what I want it to look like. Like I said, I haven't really been I'm getting now more active on it. But I just don't know what kind of like post that wanna I don't even know how to say this. I don't even know if I'm saying this right. Like how to reach the appropriate audience and what kind of content to post to reach that audience.
So one of the best way, just overview of just posting on social media, is trying to like figure out who your audience is and basically make a persona of them. Like where do they shop? Like what brands do they use? And then if you have any like competitor who's like similar, just aligning like a parallel competitor, you can go sneak on their Instagrams and their socials and see like their boys that they use to reach out to the followers, and specifically like how do they like grow their following. So you kind of want to ask like the how and why they go out to it. And then additionally, once you have like specific themes specifically to yours, you want to make sure like your voice is true to yourself. Like you make sure that you're authentic. A lot of followers want to like look for authenticity. They don't want to just like see the same old copy paste from another brand. You want to make sure you bring it back to you. And then you just bring a little bit of humor in. People always love humor, little of interacting with that. And overall, just if you start up with just doing like a post like every day, if you can use like a scheduler, like Later is a really great tool to use. It helps you like plan out your week or your month. You can just spend like 2 hours or a whole day just planning out your whole like week of posting, and then you can just put it up, and then you can forget about it, and then you can focus on other parts of your business. So just making sure you automate things that you need to automate so you can focus on interacting with your followers for the following week, instead of just being like over like worried and over like just over stressed over just posting every day and making sure of that. If you just have an automation tool that does it for you, that posts for you, then you can go on and like be interacting with your users. As like when they comment, you like their comments back, you like reply to them, you start sending like DMs to people who like look interesting. Just overall, like the best way right now to grow your following Instagram is not just by posting. You also have to like interact with your own followers as well with followers that you with people that you're following. So like Twitter is like, oh, this is like a good Instagram like account, they're actually real, they're not just bots. So that's like another way to think about it. Just think about the interaction you want with your clients and the interaction they want from you.
I think to another point, you're starting off, so things don't have to be perfect. I know we're in this era of small businesses being perfect from the get-go, and it doesn't have to be that way. I think if you start and you start to find your groove, even if that starts to change down the line, as long as you get started and you go from there, you're able to make changes along the way. It's not perfect and set in stone from the get-go.
Yeah, going back to, you had talked about empowerment, helping people, beauty. I would also say just give yourself some space for some brainstorming. So when you pull out your notebook and you write down empowerment, like just let your mind flow for a while, because sometimes the scary part is writing the captions, right? Because like finding some pictures and all that kind of stuff is one thing, but then what do you actually write with it? And start thinking about all the words that come to mind for you when you think of those things. And then what would your ideal client that you're wanting to work with, what would they want to know about empowerment? What would they want to help them know how to be beautiful, to feel beautiful? And then you could start writing out these captions that are meant for that person. And so it's to just reach out to them, but then also to connect to the mission of your brand. And that's where your captions start to flow as well.
Thank you so much. I can not write as fast as you guys can speak, but thank you so much.
It's all good. It's all being recorded live on YouTube. So if you missed anything we said, you can just go back, and there we go. That's like the beauty of like doing this live.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
I wanted to chime in on something that Margarita said that I had a thought on.
Go for it.
Go for it.
There's a concept of MVP when you work in technology. That's minimum viable product. And if you think, for example, of what generation iPhone we're on, I think a lot of us, and I speak for myself, because I didn't see entrepreneurs in my life and I didn't see people doing it on their own. Usually when I was hired in a company, the company was already through several iterations of what their product was. So I think Margarita made a great point, and it's helped me a lot, where you don't have to be at your end. There's such a thing as minimum viable product, which is what is the minimum service or product that you can offer and still fulfills what that end goal is in your client. To Michelle and everyone else's point, what would that client look like, and then figuring out what that minimum viable product is.
Okay. So.
And then just to clarify to the audience, if they're not familiar with like the minimal viable product, basically you want to get your product at 80% or 90%, and the 10% is basically like perfection. You don't want to get to perfection. Perfection is not what you're looking for. You're looking for to get feedback from your users, and as your users give you feedback, you start gaining ground on that 10% that you're missing, or you actually get rid of parts that you thought were really important, but you realize that your customers actually aren't interested in utilizing those tools. So in the end game, by using the MVP route, you are able to, one, like save money by not producing like 100% all the way, and two, you're getting important feedback from your users, and they're basically like growing with you as you grow your product. So there's no other way to get like the best type of reviews unless you invite them to come in and be the process of building your product.
That's a great point, Polly, because I think that ties into the conversation last week with imposter syndrome too, is that we can get so stuck in trying to create this finished, perfect product for a client, when in reality, you really want to sell the mission, and then they'll come on board and support you along the way. So yes, not that you have nothing created when you start selling, but being able to actually go through the process. I'll use the example of my group program. Half of it was already mapped out, recorded, ready to go. But every week when I meet with my group, they give me feedback on what they need next. So even though there's a plan and there's something there, I'm able to still tweak as I go along to support what they need. Because if I'm meeting their needs, then they are going to get their money's worth. They're going to be excited about the journey. They're more likely to get the results that I want for them and they want for themselves. And then they're also going to share that with their friends, which referrals are the best place to be at when it comes to bringing in new folks as well. So give yourself the space to have something created, to have your mission, but also the flexibility to know it doesn't have to be done in perfect. Just start moving, and your progress and working with your clients will get you to the place where you build this amazing business that is attracting more people because you're meeting more needs.
And then
thank you guys, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, if you have any other questions, be sure to follow us next week. We're gonna go follow up with like the next person who's here. Oh, they have a party hat, which is Margarita. And then just a reminder, when you speak, if you're part of the audience, make sure like you say your name, because this is live on YouTube and I am not sharing my screen, so they have no idea who's talking. We want to make sure that they know there's like a new person talking and like who they are, so they recognize it. So Margarita, you're up. Do you have any other questions for us?
Hi, good morning. I'm new to Clubhouse. I'm Margarita. I'm from Los Angeles. I like to identify as a multi-passionate person. I have my own small business, as well as really focusing on being that kind of, sorry, my dog found the UPS person. I really want to focus on being able to help small businesses build up their social media. So, really what my question is where do you I'm at a place where I just let go of my 9-to-5, and I want to be comfortable with not needing to go back. So I'm in that place where I'm like, I'm okay. And then I need to also catch up and do what I have to do to really survive outside of my regular job.
Well, first off, congratulations on doing that big step. It's really like difficult for someone to like get rid of their 9-to-5 and just go on and follow their dreams. So like, congratulations to you. Welcome on board to the entrepreneurial lifestyle. I myself never had a 9-to-5, so I just kind of always was an entrepreneur. But yeah, like first start getting started with your 9-to-5 is ensuring you have like your own schedule. You want to make sure that you take care of yourself first. You want to make sure that your mental state is ready to go, because if your mental state suffers, your whole business suffers, since like you are basically the CEO, CMO, like CTO of everything. So you want to make sure you are 100% to start with. Make sure that you're taking yourself like time enough to like 10 minutes of like just relaxing, 10 minutes of just doing yoga, or just 10 minutes of just having like, or watching just TV or watching Netflix, just like every day, just to reset yourself, or anything that helps you like help with your mental health. So that's the first thing I want to like let you know, because burnout is a real thing, and like you think that you are working like 20 hours every day or like something ridiculous. You think like you're like actually gaining ground with your business, but actually what you're doing is actually like affecting your mental health. And when you affect your mental health, you're not giving 100% to your clients or to your projects, which is when a lot of people decide to go back to their 9 to 5 because they're like, they see no growth. So the best way to actually grow the fastest is by making sure that your mental health is at 100% all the time, and making sure like your health is like 100% all the time. Then the next thing that I want you to like to look after for is basically like the engagement with your clients. Like just basically make methodology, like how do you engage your clients? Like how do you engage a bad client? How do you engage a good client? You want to make sure that everything is like to like the detail that you can like basically, if there's a bad client coming through, you already know like what you're going to say and how you're going to like talk to them before the event happens. And as when a good client happens, you know like how to make sure like you keep that client. So that's 2 little exercises that you need to do for yourself, just so like you're ready when that happens, and you're not stressing yourself out the moment it happens. And then if like you get a bad client, it doesn't affect you like for the rest of the day, because bad clients are gonna happen and you want to be prepared for them before it happens. It's just thinking about the worst possible thing to happen, you have it ready to go. And then once it happens and then you have it planned out, you're basically are just like, oh, like I already know that one had a bad client. I basically like directed him the right way. You either turn him into a good client or overall just ended that relationship. It's better to end a relationship with a bad client, because if you have a bad client, again, it goes back to dealing with your mental health and affects like your positivity with your good client. So I think those are like the 2 main takeaways I want to give, but I also want to give opportunity for Michelle and Liz to like share a couple feedback.
Yeah, Margarita, what I heard in that question was fear. So my question to you would be, and this is Michelle, by the way, my question to you would be, what is your biggest fear that would happen that would bring you back to that 9 to 5?
I think definitely not being able to sustain my, pay rent, or really be able to feed myself.
Yeah. So a lot of times when we start this journey, a big part of this is mindset. So believing we can do this, that we're going to be able to make enough money, all those things, right? Which are legit things to be concerned about. But sometimes what can help is things like this, right? Like being in conversation with other people who've done it, right? Polly can be like, I've never had a 9 to 5. And you're like, what? And then you can get strategy, but also like digging into your mind to actually sort through those fears. Because if we don't actually look at them, what can happen is they spiral out of control in the back of our mind subconsciously. So what I would say is sit down, take some time to journal, write out one of your biggest fears. Let's say I can't pay my rent. If that were to happen, make a list of all the things you would do if you ended up in that scenario. And you'll realize you're a lot more resourceful than you're probably giving yourself credit for. And even in the absolute worst case scenario, you will still have options into your strengths, which you're really great at, the people you would use. And sometimes that helps to start to reduce the fear, because you start to realize it's actually not as bad as you think it is. So that's one thing I would offer, to maybe at least try to start tackling that fear part of the mindset.
Wow, that's great. Thank you so much. Yeah, I definitely like to journal, so that's gonna definitely be one thing I take away. And thank you, Polly. I know dealing with clients, especially ones that you're not necessarily get along with or think that they're good, it's a difficult task. So thank you so much.
Yeah, just basically like there's a lot of like guides on like how HR deals with like bad employees. So just like look at what HR and like how they structure themselves. So everything's already like as a guidebook. And you kind of want to have the same thing, like a guidebook to like a good client or guidebook to like a bad client. So you kind of just atomize yourself to the point where like you don't really like think twice about it. You just like go through the motions, so like it doesn't really affect your mental health when you're like going through like a bad client. You just want to de-escalate the situation, and then either like enter a relationship with the client or just figure out what made them upset or what is making them into a bad client. Because a lot of the times bad clients come from like what they're going through, or like in their own like mental health state, or overall just because like they had a bad day. So if you could just basically de-escalate the situation, I think it's like the best way to go about it.
Yeah, thank you so much.
All right, we're gonna move along to our next audience member. I believe it was Reyes.
Good morning, everybody. How you doing? Thank you for having this space in this room. Um, I'm from Los Angeles, and I recently just started my brand and my Instagram page last year. Just kind of working on sharing knowledge and information for our urban community. And as the process went, I got a little bit bigger following. I got more connections, and I believe my brand has really good momentum right now. So I'm actually in a crossroad, and my question will be, as I feel like my brand has momentum and want to continue it, I want to focus on certain specific things that I think I will be more valuable besides the content creation and the posting and specific things like that, where I think I can move this forward a little bit quicker, like the networking and connecting. Because I already had a couple of paid, speaking parts, and I started a merch line, which I got a couple of sales. So I do have somebody that's helping me support the infrastructure of building my website, getting my email contact list as I'm projected to do this in quarter two, quarter three, and creating some courses and some ebooks. My question will be, when will be the right time to set up something foundational with the partner to, if this becomes more monetizing? Because right now I made some money, but nothing where it's going to be outrageous or crazy. But also I opened up a fund because this year I want to focus on investing in my brand and putting into promotion and marketing. So when will be the right time to have that conversation or set something in foundation of like, what will be something that will, should I pay or should I give equity or whatever the structure will be, if anybody has any information or experienced that before. Thank you.
So setting up your partner is basically like a very serious thing to do, because you actually have to think that is basically getting to like a type of marriage. Once you have a partner, you have to make sure that they'll like not try to basically like do something shady, or like do something shady to your company, or do something shady to your employees. You just want to make sure that they're like a good person overall. First thing, basically, like make sure like you checked resources before you invite anyone in. It's a very like serious like part when you want to bring a partner on board, because you want to make sure that they respect your brand and they respect how much work you put into it, and you make sure that they're going to be working as hard as you are. You don't want to bring someone on who's basically just going to be there just for like just being a partner. You want to make sure that they work as hard as you and they're like investing themselves as much as you are. And then just to bring a partner on board, I think it will be like a good idea to just think about it, doing it like basically like in 5 years, if you work with me, like you get this portion. So you kind of want to like the equity to like be spread out, and make sure like you give them a testing period, like either a testing period of 1 year, just to make sure like you and your partner worked out. And if it doesn't work out, you guys can still like be like, okay, we didn't work out, but you can go ahead and like bring another partner on board, and you don't have to worry about him taking part of the equity later. So you want to make sure on your...
Hey, Polly, it's Joseph down here. Would it be okay if I say something to Reyes?
Yeah.
Hey, Reyes, it's Joseph. I'm on the bottom left corner. Hey, quick question. What type of revenue are you doing right now on a monthly basis for your business?
Oh, it's nothing at all. I've gotten paid.
Okay, so what I recommend, and I coach people all the time on this, you got to build momentum. It's really easy to see people investing, creating funds. You don't need to grow too fast. Okay, the world's moving fast, but that doesn't mean you got to move fast. As an entrepreneur, you got to focus on building momentum. And what that means and what that looks like is you have to maximize and create an exit strategy for your business before you start going into investments and funds, because that could be very time sensitive, especially if you're trying to create partners. And in fact, I would stay away from partners in the early stage until you're more educated in what you're doing. And sometimes it could be very easy to fall into, okay, I need a partner because they're bringing X, Y, and Z resources. You don't need to do that. And what I would recommend doing is something called a JV, a joint venture, where you're not truly liable and you're not limited, right? It's more of a collaboration per se. You can't do everything if you're not maximizing anything. I've heard you have merch and you're doing a few sales here and there. You have to focus on maximizing. Think of this. Think of every project as a baby, okay? Say you have 5 little toddlers. I mean, I am a father of 2, so I could say this confidently. You can't expect every toddler to turn to a teenager because you see teenagers just having fun, okay? The world doesn't work that way. And in business, you have to treat everything like a toddler, like a baby. You have to nurture, you have to feed it, you have to play with it, and truly be there to experience their growth. So tying this back into business, don't get ahead of yourself. It's very easy. Trust me, I get it. But focus on what's in front of you and maximize it.
Got it. I guess as far as maybe I kind of miscued the question, because like I said, I'm not jumping into anything. I just feel I have some momentum on specific things that last year I just literally just worked on just creating the content and the brand and just getting it off. And this year, I have a whole calendar and schedule of like the whole year, what my expectations are for my next step, if it's the course or whatever the case may be. But I do have somebody, and maybe I should not say partner, that been helping me like kind of create the graphics and is doing the website before. So I have made some sales of merch and speaking engagement and specific things. And if I bring out my course or my ebook, whatever the next item is gonna be, maybe I should ask, how about because I want to pay this person, because right now he's helping me because he believes in me and he supports me, a long time partner where I knew and I know his skills. So I guess my question should have been, should that be mostly me just paying him what he helps me make, or create just a specific?
I do a joint venture. I do a joint venture, and you come to an agreement with paying him on the back end. You guys have certain milestones. Hey, if this course does $10,000 by March, I'll pay you $3,000. Hey, if we do 20,000 by August, I'll pay you half. Right? Create and incentivize his commitment, because if you focus on the vision, if you allow him to see what he could do in the next 6 to 12 months, now he's going to be incentivized. And if you do that as a joint ventureship, you never want to go into a partnership with stuff like this. It gets complicated really quick. So you want to start researching joint ventureships so you're more educated. That's what I would do.
Oh, that's actually perfect. Yeah, I really like that.
Couldn't hear you. I don't know what happened there.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that. That was actually really great. I really like that. Thank you.
Yeah, and you also just want to start setting up your own board of directors, because this is what you're going through. Just figure out if he could be in part of your board of directors to help manage your own your personal self, basically. You want to make sure you have people to go through. Obviously we're here for you right now, but in the future you want to make sure you have a couple different people you can go through. So try to reach out to a business that is similar to yours, that is a little bit bigger, and see if you can have them to be one of your board of directors for just yourself. Reach out to them. A lot of business owners have gone through what you're going through right now, and they're more than willing to help you out, just as a pair of ears or something. Just try to build out a relationship with someone else that's similar to your business, and then once they're in their similar parallel to your business, it's going to be easier for you to see your growth and be able to parallel with them. So that just a little bit of suggestions so we stay on topic. Michelle, you have anything else to say?
I think the conversation went in a different direction, but one thing I was going to say earlier, I'll just add in if it's helpful to other folks, is I'm not going to get into the details of joint venture, but just thinking in general of who you work with is also, you said something earlier that made me think of strengths. And so I think it's really important for us to lean into what our strengths are, and not just all the things we want to, our weaknesses that we call them, that we want to improve. Because when you're really clear on the things that you're great at, then I know, or you will know, who are the people who have other greatness that will combine with mine to make really strong collaborations, because we also want to be careful that we're not surrounding ourselves with people who are all just like us. And so what does it look like to all be empowered folks who know, I'm really great at future thinking, I'm really great at being an activator, but this person over here is really great at communication, and they're really great at being analytical. Together, we're a powerhouse. So I think spending some time just getting really clear on who you are, what you're great at, and focusing more energy there, and surrounding yourself with other people who have the strengths that are not yours, as opposed to, I think a lot of people also spend their time trying to work on weaknesses when they're working on their business. And personally, I just feel like that's not the greatest use of our time and our energy.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. That's why I mentioned that, because I'm very clear of my vision, my plan, and exactly what I need to do and how I need to do it. And this gentleman that's been supporting me, clearly it offsets a lot of my things that I think I'm better off not doing, because it's gonna take me back from what I'm stronger at, which is, like I said, creating the website, getting the graphics, the analytics, and just the structure of what that the backside of the business is, and me being the brand, the face, the networking, and so on. So I really appreciate that.
Yeah, and then anyone who's in the audience who wants to raise their hand, we'll bring them up to the stage, and we're gonna keep going. We are gonna go over a couple of like feedback to like your own board of directors on the last two people that we went through. So just so we stay back on track, I know that we kind of been doing the board of directors style right now, but we haven't given like a little feedback on like how do you go about building it. It's like nice to hear it, but how do you go on building it? So I'm just gonna give a little bit of side story here. So when I first started my journey as an entrepreneur, I was right out of college, so I kind of basically I knew nothing. And the one thing that kind of got me to like believe in myself was that I had like a wonderful dean in my school who believed in me, and I had like friends who also were like very like, oh, you got this, you can do it. And then as I went out networking and I met more people, I was able to like recognize like people who might be helpful to me. So I would just invite them out for coffee, or for just like hang out for a second, and I would like talk to them. I'll get their phone numbers, and then I would just go up and talk to them to the point where like we built a friendship. So the first thing you want to do is like build a friendship with anyone that you think might help you in any way possible. So if you're like small business and there's like a competitor who is basically like way ahead of you, you might think like, oh, they're not gonna want to reach out to me. The best way for you to just reach out to them, see if they're willing to take like a coffee date or just a Skype call, which is something like that's very practical nowadays, and see if like they can give you any feedback or information that you might go through on your own business now, because they already went through it. I believe like a lot of entrepreneurs and small businesses are very like friendly and welcoming, to the point where like they're more willing to just let you know like what's happening so you can avoid it. Michelle, any other feedback?
Yeah, I mean, I love all of that. What I would say is, I love that you use the example of your school and your dean. So I'm actually a former high school principal, and I was thankfully able to build my own vice principal team. It was a larger school, so I had multiple vice principals. And when I put this team together, and to this day, I mean, it's been probably 6 years since I worked with these folks, I still use them on a regular basis. So they literally become like my board of directors. I had somebody who I had been a colleague with. We'd both been vice principals together. I knew how they worked, what their mentality was towards people, and how they worked with folks. So we were very like-minded in the ways that we build relationships. I had people who were just like a ride or die. Like no matter what, they are going to be there for me, no matter how difficult it gets or what's going to happen. I had somebody who was like the say it like it is all the time. They don't hold back, but they do it with love person, who also knew me really well, that they would not let me veer from who I was and what I was about. So those are some of the people who I had then. And then when I left that job and took a 6-month sabbatical to kind of rethink life and where I wanted to move the future of my professional life, personal life, I actually sent an email to a group of people who I considered aspirational mentors. So I'd had some connection with them, so this wasn't like a cold email, but they weren't necessarily people who were already mentoring me. And I just sent them an email and said, I'm about to make this huge pivot in my life, in my career. I highly respect you. Here's my resume just as another reference to all the things that I have done. how can I be of service to you during this time? And how would be the best way that I could also utilize your expertise as I make this decision? And I had some people who didn't reply to the email, and I had 3 people who did. And they were people who throughout that 6 months, I would either help them with something. Maybe I became a thought partner or somebody who would move something forward for them. So it was mutual. It wasn't just me taking from them. But then on the flip side, I would get to hang out with them at their office or go out to coffee with them and get to pick their brain about how they had built their businesses or built their brand or whatever it was that they were working on. So I was able to learn from them, but then also provide my gifts to what they were working on. And so now, as I shifted into now having a coaching business and doing other and consulting work, I still keep all of those people, the friend that tells it like it is, the person who's my ride or die, these mentors who now are 10 years ahead of where I want to be. And I still regularly reach out. We're doing virtual happy hours even right now. I'm still joining their events if they're virtual. And so it's like, how are you able to bring these people in to support you? But I would always say you have to be thinking about how you're also giving back. So it's a mutual relationship, because then they're going to definitely stay with you a lot longer, and they're going to want to invest in you more because they know this is not just a transactional situation. And I had mentioned earlier to really even think about not just these one-on-one hangouts with these folks, but also, are there opportunities for you to bring these people together once a year, twice a year, for all of them to really be with you in conversation around your mission for the future of your business, your life? What are the big questions you have that all of these people in the same room can get together and actually give you feedback on? Because, you know, when you have all these great minds together and they all know you really well, like there's just great stuff that's going to come out of that. And so I would encourage to actually literally have board of director meetings for your life.
Yeah, and especially if you're a small business, you kind of like close yourself out, and you kind of like, your ability to go through something is a lot easier when you have someone directing you the right way, so you don't make mistakes that they already did, or just overall just be able to share their wins with them, which is something very important. We're gonna keep going with our next party hat, which is Esther. Welcome to the Clubhouse.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for putting this together. This is Esther. I'm enjoying this very much. As I said, my background is a little bit more, or actually my entire background is more in having a job, not being an entrepreneur. And so I understand the concept of board of directors, and I just never thought to apply it to my life. So I think this is wonderful. In terms of my question, I haven't really monetized my businesses. I have a couple of pages on Instagram where my goal is really to empower people and to share the knowledge. So that's what I do for free. Eventually, I do know that I want to monetize, but I'm not there yet. But everything that I've heard here is very helpful. It sounds like I need a website. It sounds like there are a few things that I need to kind of get my ducks in a row. So maybe that's my question, suggestions for when I do eventually want to start offering services or products, what are maybe tips for that transition?
I think overall, just trying to figure out like how do you want to like get like how do you want that transaction to go? Like, for instance, like, are you going to be selling like actual product? And if you're going to be selling actual product, you kind of want to like start looking into like websites that have like the lowest like charging you like the lowest amount. So like you really want to make sure like the hidden charges when you build up a website, how much is going to charge? Is it going to be secure? So that's one of a couple technical parts that you want to like make sure you do your research on. I'm not really sure if you're going to do like services where like you're going to send invoices. So like how are you going to be creating invoices? Like what's going to happen if someone doesn't pay? Like how are you going to like go about that? Additionally, like if you are going to be doing like a services option, you want to see like payment plans. So all of that stuff is something like to keep in mind before you even start it. Michelle, do you have anything else to say?
Yeah, I mean, I think thinking with this idea of the board of directors, I have reached out to folks because so the strengths that I have are that I have futuristic and I'm an activator. So the minute I get an idea, I just start running forward and making it happen. I don't think of all those logistical things Polly just said. So I have to have people in my life who do. So I have a coach, actually Dulce Toscano, who I work with, who she helps me to stop and think about those things. Because that's not my wheelhouse. So when you're thinking about who's coming on board to support you, if you know you're more of the visionary, then who are the folks that you want to have that you're going to lean on that are going to help you think about those operation type things? But if your mind is more of the operations, then who's going to help you to be more of a visionary? So that's one part. The other thing I would add is think about what's special about you and your journey. So in my case, I coach, right? I coach with Latinas one-on-one primarily. I also do some coaching for, for school districts and stuff, since that's my background. But I knew I wanted to start building something different that would be more communal, because that's one of my gifts also, is like building community. And so I was like, but what's that going to be around? And when I really thought about my journey and what was special about me, it was my sabbatical. Most Latinas haven't done that. They don't even know what that is. I know my family was like, what the hell are you doing? My dad one night was just like, no entiendo esta cosa que you're going to find yourself. So like, I didn't know who to lean on for that. And so that's where my idea of my group coaching program, the Chingona Sabbatical, came from. You don't have to quit your job, but I can still walk you through this journey of trying to figure out your purpose in life and how to make it happen. And we do it in community. So that's something that was part of my journey. It was part of my strength. So when you think about, you said you were doing stuff around empowerment. When you think about your journey, what helped you to come to a place to want to empower? What are things that have empowered you? What's some things that have only you could say, wow, I know how to guide people through this because this was something that I was able to guide myself through. And when you start to think about those things, there might be something that emerges as a theme that then becomes something that, like, I can package this. This is the thing I can sell because it's also you. You're not just making something up. If it comes from you and your experience, it's going to be a lot easier on the journey to then be able to build product around it and build a vision for it, and then just show up in the world, because that's you showing up as yourself and not trying to create some other type of persona that you're going to show up as.
Yeah, and just to add to that, overall the theme of like building your own board of directors. So far we identified someone who is a peer, so someone who is based your own age or overall like grew up with you. This could be like your best friend, or your friend from high school, your friend from childhood. The next one would be a competitor or someone who already achieved the wealth that you wanted or the success that you wanted it in your own business. So reaching out to them. And the next portion will be someone who is either a technical person if you aren't a technical person, or someone who is a visionary if you're a technical person. So far, those are the 3 types of board people that you want on your own personal board of directors. And just having people who also like can talk to you through like an emotional experience will go through kind of like another like added layer to that. And we're gonna, Esther, do you have any other questions or?
No, that was very helpful. Thank you so much.
All right.
I appreciate you both.
You're welcome. And be sure to check out the YouTube link for everyone who's listening here. We're live on YouTube as we speak. We have been live for the last 53 minutes. So congratulations, everyone. And we're gonna bring up our next speaker up on board, which is Aileen. I think I'm mispronouncing your name.
Eileen.
Oh, sorry, Eileen.
It's okay. How are you guys doing?
We're doing great.
Thank you. Well, good to hear. First time I am part of a group that has to do with not so much. Well, let me just rephrase this. I'm listening to this because I'm trying to absorb as much information and learn as much as I can from everyone that is already pursuing their business. I am about to launch mine, and more than being like an advocate or a professional, I was just really trying to understand what are the best ways to move in social media. I do have experience in the area, but it wasn't anything that came from the business point of view, meaning this was just a hobby, and the account turned out to have more exposure and more acceptance than I ever thought it would. But now I'm thinking that I want to take advantage of that And my thing is, here's the question I have. I feel like the majority of my posts, even though they have this vibe that you can tell it's a Latina talking and making jokes and everything, I feel like I have adapted a little bit everything to the English language just to make it easier for everybody, assuming that the majority of the Latinos also speak English. But I am trying to attract more Latinos at this point, and so I am in the moment where I'm trying to decide or even think what would be the smartest thing for me, meaning everything, website, like whatever it is that I'm about to build, which is going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort. How can I do it in a way where Latinos will feel more drawn to it? There's something, I don't want to be rude or anything, but I feel like there's something about the English that seems a little cold. If the language in Spanish itself, I feel like es tan fluido, and like there's so much more, like even insults to be honest. And so it's really where I'm at right now. And I decided to try in my social media first song captions. And when that happens, obviously the traction is less because my percentage of Latinos is a little bit less, but that's what I'm trying to go for. So should I let that stop me, or in your opinion, I should probably keep it like generic, broad as far as approach?
I mean, I will say I love that idea. I find that aspirational for myself as well. But I'm going to be honest. I speak conversational Spanish. I'm not there with the professional yet, but that's the goal for me. So what I can recommend is some people that I have followed who I think do a really good job with doing both. One is Masi Arias, who is a fitness person, and she usually does captions in English with Spanish. Her IG stories, she might do, some of them in English, and then she'll switch and do them in Spanish. There's another person, Fitman Cook, who I've seen does the same thing. The post is in English, the captions in English, but then below that, translated into Spanish so people can read either. And then we'll post maybe speaking in English, but write the caption in Spanish, or same thing, do some posts that are in English and then do some posts that are in Spanish. To your point, that does add more work, but that would be the way to maybe attract in more folks who could then absorb your content both ways. But that's what I can offer off the top. I haven't gotten there, but that is a goal for me as well.
Thank you for the advice. I actually have tried that, and it seems to go well. And as far as the two accounts, I am totally familiar with them. She's incredible in her energy, and I know him as well too. But I was just, I guess, trying to see if it was a little too soon for me to just jump ahead and do something like a website, for example. But I guess I should continue then to test it for a longer time and attract more, that's really the goal. And I guess
I think
double caption. It doesn't really take a long effort. I guess I was more talking about like how much more work it would take just to build the actual website in that way. But I feel like that might narrow my market. I don't know. I'm just confused. I didn't know where to go, and I was just kind of looking for a little bit of light. Thank you so much for your insight. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, so specifically to dealing like a double-sided market, it's a very difficult thing to do because you don't want to lose like the people that you already like spend a lot of time with, like growing your content. So I kind of see that your question's more decided like how do I take over like a double-sided market. So I think the best way to go about this is actually just build like a hashtag specifically to separate both markets. And then when you want to keep your other market within your part, you kind of put it like, okay, like I want to make sure I keep my old market intact, which I'm still like interacting with them the same way that I did, but I want to attract another market, which is the Latino market. There is an option on Instagram where you could basically comment after you basically made your caption. So instead of just putting everything on the caption, you also add a comment which kind of adds to like a conversation starter. So instead of just going like the same way you went about getting like your first market, you kind of start off doing like comments in Spanish or like the caption translation as a comment and like a question. So you start interacting with other people, and then you kind of start tagging other people so they can like answer your question. So it's a little bit more interactive. So like your old audience doesn't feel like you're overwhelming them out of nowhere, and they're just kind of like, oh, like I don't understand this. It's local Spanish, and they're a little bit confused. You kind of like bring it in out of like just slowly, and you kind of like make them feel like it was always there and they kind of didn't notice it. So that's like another way to deal like with the double-sided market. There's like a bunch of books on dealing with double-sided markets, but particularly dealing with like a Spanish speaking only market and an English speaking market only. You do want to treat them as there's two different markets, and make sure you don't forget about either one of them and take them into conversation with like all of your actions or your branding. That's a very important thing. You want to make sure that nobody feels left out, and you want to make sure like you respect them to an extent when you're making these choices. I think building a website will be like a wonderful thing to do. Just overall, I think you should always build like a website like basically yesterday, just as a way that you can like have like a permanent connection with your own following, just like so in case you put a product out or any type of new announcement or like newsletter, they can sign up. They can basically go check out what you've been up to or any option for that. That'll just be like a good way for you just to have like a permanent market solution and be able to identify your two markets in a website where basically you have like the English portion a part of the website and then the Spanish speaking portion of the website. So it's a good way to just be like, oh, these are my two markets, and they're a little bit more familiar with.
Oh my gosh, this thing resonated heavy with me. Everything that you said. Thank you so much. I'm taking notes here as both of you gave me the advice. This was valuable, like very, very valuable. Thank you so much for that. That just makes complete sense, and it really, really resonates. Thank you.
I took notes of all of that too. That was amazing.
I didn't hear you, Adriana. Sorry. Oh, okay.
I said I took notes of all of that too. That was amazing. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I thought I had a question. Sorry about that. So just so everyone knows, we are live on YouTube as we speak at the same time. This is all real time. There's absolute no lag. All is happening, all real right now. I think this is the first time anyone in Clubhouse goes on YouTube live at the same time. So congratulations for everyone. We're doing something for the first time. We have been live for the past 1 hour and 3 minutes. I am going to be cutting out the room shortly because, well, I don't want people to overwhelm them on a Saturday. We have 3 speakers left, which is Marina, Briso, and Maria. And I apologize for this, but we do have to I'm going to try to give you 5 minutes for each one of you, which is your comments and our comments, just so we can go through it quickly. I am going to be having this room again next Saturday. And if you come in next Saturday, we can deeply discuss and give you a little bit more time to speak. And then, Marina, would you like to go next?
Hi, I just wanted to say thank you for the opportunity. I have a podcast, and my question is based on, I went back to work. I have my 9 to 5, which I really love. And so my question is mostly down to how can I make community like part of my weekends, and people really being able to connect with me during the weekends, because before I wasn't working, and so it was just Monday through Friday, and sometimes on the weekends as well. So that's pretty much my question. How can I go ahead and have people understand that I am still available, but it's just more or less that my job is still important, even though I do care about my small business in this situation.
Sorry, what was your small business?
It's my podcast, but it's also a trademark as well. So that's something that I'm working on this year.
So I think like a good way to build community is actually just overall, maybe actually just start a Clubhouse room and do like what I'm doing right now as a way to like interact with your users, and make sure that like you kind of like message them and try to find a way like you can build them on your own, basically have like live streams and interact with them on YouTube or Instagram. I think it'll be a good way to make sure that you're still available for them. You haven't left. You're just taking a moment to take care of yourself and just do what it's most important to you, which is basically taking care of like things that matter to you right now. Michelle, do you have any other suggestions?
Yeah, I would just add in, I mean, especially as a podcaster, you know, this communication is huge. So, how can you communicate to, I mean, the community could be your family, it could be friends, colleagues, or maybe even the folks who are the listeners to your podcast that you want to engage in community as well. Just being clear on what your boundaries are and what you need for yourself in community, and then communicating that out. And that might be something that's broad to everyone, or maybe something that's tailored to each part of your community. But I talk often in coaching about conscious relationship. And so a lot of times we take for granted we just start spending time with people and we're in a relationship. But actually, if we consciously do that, we have to regularly communicate our needs and our wants. And I would say part of that is also letting them know when you're going to need to hang out and when you're not going to be able to.
Thank you for the feedback.
Yeah, I think next was Brizo, I believe.
Hi, yes. Hello, everyone. My name is Rizzo Torres. I am currently in NYC. I've been here for the last 10 years. And my background is I've been running one of the largest guitar schools here in the wealthiest neighborhoods on the Upper East Side for almost a decade, and recently moved on from that, which was tough because I built an amazing community. But right now, I'm also a performing artist, and I've been doing that for almost a decade here. So right now, I'm doing a few things. So I have a Chingonas Novelas musical short series that I'm working on. I teach young kids. I'm taking kids to Broadway, and I'm also trying to put good out there in the world. So in terms of personal brand and starting up a business, how has Clubhouse been helpful for y'all? Now, I've recently just jumped on Clubhouse, and I'm looking to do more networking and community, and I just wanted to get your insight on the value that it served Chingonas AF.
I think that's actually like a great last question for all the viewers out there who are wondering what is Clubhouse all about and why are we here? Like, why do we come every day? Why do we log in? I think something that like the other like Instagram and Twitter tries to do is try to build a sense of community by through comments, Instagram live feeds. But what Clubhouse does that's basically particular to Clubhouse is the ability to just open a room, have a subject, and have people walk in or like leave quietly if they're not interested in the subject, and then participate. That's one thing that you can't get on real time with any other like social medias right now. You can't get like conversation that we're having right now. We can't like talk about something and bring people in like we have right now, other than basically real life. That's what it was. Right now we have like a bunch of strangers in a room talking to each other, giving each other advice, and overall just building a sense of community. And if you are out there trying to build a brand or just overall trying to figure out how you're going to start a room, I think the best way is just find something that is unique to you. Like for me, like my company and the reason why I started my company is to help like small businesses, particularly women and minorities. So when I think about starting my room, I thought like, all right, I want to have a room to continue that mission because that's something that I'm very passionate about. That's the reason why I wake up every day and just put my shoes on and just go out and make sure I give my 100% of my company is the ability to help others. And that's something that you want to think about yourself. Like, what is that one passionate subject that you can talk about hours and you're willing to like help out the community and have this both like transactional conversation with them. And Chingano as fuck, there's like the biggest like Latino, well, Chingona AF, sorry. Chingona AF is like one of the biggest Latina in Clubhouse right now. It started by, oh, sorry, one second. It was started by Mandy. If you can go and like look at the little Clubhouse little thing that's house, you can go and add it. And then if you want to start your own room that is sponsored by Chingona AF, you can reach out to her on Twitter and let her know about your idea. We did have like a conversation last week about if you wanted to start a room, what would it be about. And you can submit your idea to her, and then she'll be more than welcome to let you start your room, because this is a community that she built for us, and a community for us to come together and be able to connect each other. I think this is like one of the easiest ways to find small businesses who are Latinos. It was really difficult to find them on Instagram, because like finding a Latino business, a lot of people don't put on their Instagram feed, I am a Latino business, or it's really hard to find Latinos in general, because we're kind of like basically like we can look like anything. Like we're barely a little brown, we're a little white, we're a little in between. So there's not really like a right way to be a Latino. So just having this like opportunity to meet other Latinos, just put it up more and people keep coming. I think it's like the easiest way to interact with them. Michelle, do you have anything else others to say?
Thank you.
I would say that I'm still exploring, so to put that out there. Polly is kind of guiding me here too. But I will say that things that I've appreciated right off the bat are that I'm a talker and I love podcasts. And so I feel like it's the perfect merriment of both of those. I can find topics, or I can create a room with a topic that interests me and I know would interest people who I work with. And then you can just jump on and start a conversation. You don't have to worry about a producer. You don't have to worry about figuring out how to get the message out there. The people are here. And I mean, real talk, you can also be in your pajamas at home with no makeup on and nobody knows.
Yeah.
And so I love that it can be spontaneous. I sometimes in the morning when I'm getting ready, I'll turn it on like I used to turn on a podcast, and I can pause every now and then, interact, and then kind of keep going about what I'm doing. And so I feel like that brings those two things that I absolutely love together. And I would never think to start a podcast right now because I've got too many other things going on with my business, but I can definitely hop in here and start a room and start a conversation on Clubhouse. And I feel like it generates the same kind of energy and possibility, but actually interactively, which is the plus.
Nice. Thank you so much for these takeaways. This has been so amazing.
Yeah, additionally, I'm going to do like a little good time for announcements. So I am going to be having the Latino Pitch Night on the last Friday of March at 6 p.m. I have invited like a couple of BCs to come on board and listen. So I actually have like a harder time of finding investment. So I think this is like a good space and room overall to make sure that if you have an idea that needs funding, or overall just want to get a little bit practice in funding, make sure to sign up on my form, which is pinned on my Twitter profile. And I'll be sending out rules and guidelines on how about to set up your pitch and how to participate. I have been having a couple of people signing up already, so I might limit the amount of people that can do it on the first installation to pitch. I'm not sure how many. I'll probably just do 2 sessions on it. And if you want to just follow up the journey with Latinos in Malls Business, make sure to follow your moderators, which is the ones on the little green portions of it, as well as follow the room Chingona AF. And if you want to share this conversation with your friends who haven't gotten into Clubhouse yet, we are live on YouTube, and the link is on my Twitter profile. And with that, I think this is like a good place to end our broadcast. If any other announcement to have, let it say. Overall, Michelle?
Yeah, thanks for being here this morning. You can find me on Instagram at Thriving Chingona. You can find me here on Clubhouse at Thrive Chingona. And I've been hosting meditations on Friday through IG Live, so please join me over there. The meditations are recorded and up, and hopefully soon we'll start doing some meditations here in Chingona AF as well. And also just would love to connect with you and learn more about your journey. So please find me over on Instagram, drop in the DMs, and let's start a conversation.
And with that, thank you everyone for coming. See you in the next edition of Latinos in Malls Business. Make sure to follow us on our social media channels, as well as check out the YouTube video and invite people to come through. I have one last speaker who wants to come up. I'm gonna invite you, but you basically have like 2 minutes or like a minute.
Hey guys, hola, hola. I just wanted to pitch something real quick.
Go for it.
If anybody Latinas want to collaborate, I'm a fashion portrait photographer, branding photographer, based in New York. So if you guys want to work, collaborate, please DM me and let's talk about it. I'm all about uplifting, motivating, and working together.
Woohoo, you got it, June. Brizzo here. I'm down.
Yes, yes, sis.
And this is it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you everyone for coming. Be sure to tune in next week at the same time. We're also going to be live. So if you have any friends who are interested in joining Clubhouse and they haven't because they're like, I don't need another social media, be sure to invite them. I do have the live comments online so they can also participate via YouTube live link. They can participate with us, asking us questions, and just interacting with anyone that's online with us here at Clubhouse. Thanks again for everyone, and I'll see you next week.